Hello, welcome back. So, in our previous episode, we looked at sorting and filtering. We did a lot of work, and that was really great. So, I gave you some challenge at the end of the previous episode that you go and try to implement some other filters. Okay, the fact that we don't have brand in our products, I did not include this filter of the brand, but the same logic applies if, for instance, for you are making an e-commerce and it has the brand in your products, you can actually use the same logic we used for the price filtering. Okay, so here I went ahead and just polished a bit in what we did yesterday, and that is just to add these icons and then also to make sure these ones are showing right. I'm just going to first take you through what so far I have done up to now so that you have a good understanding of what we did. So yesterday the whole logic started from, I'm just going to simply go back to everything was started in this category, and this is where we're able to get our params. Okay, so we start getting our params, and that is the sort, the mean, and the max. Okay, so we get the category, and then from this category what we actually want is the category ID, so that if wherever we are making the request to the API, we append this category, and all our queries are having the category ID because we are only filtering for this category. Okay, so that is great. We went ahead and did this. If you watched the previous episode, you saw how I went ahead and did all this. Okay, so let me show you the part where I just like modified because was in the price filter component. So in the price filter component, first of all, we get access to the slug. So you can remember that the slug, we have it here. So we have the category and we can have the slug, so I can send it in the filters, and then it is in the filters where we have the brand filter. Actually, I'm just going to take off the brand filter since we don't have this, and then we have the price filter. I send there the slug. Okay, now what do I want from here? I first have the price ranges, and these price ranges are the ones that are showing on the side here. You can add as many price ranges as possible, and in the future we'll be adding more, but you can just come and add your price range here, and each price has a display name, and it also has the corresponding either max or mean. Okay, so then we just go here and then we map through them. Okay, we can just see here that we are just having the price ranges and we are mapping through them and rendering a link. Okay, so the first here, the logic is very easy, is that we have three instances. Okay, we have the under instance, we have the above, and the between. So we have these three instances. Whatever you're going to put is going to be falling under this category. It can either be between, or it can be either above or under, and those are the three things we actually did here. So in the first case, if for instance the range, okay, is max, okay, and it has like min and max, this is the one of the between. If it has min and max, then we go and do this. Else, if it has only max, then we do the max. Else, then we do the min. That's what we did. Okay, and with that, that's what was working. If you say under 300, you can see the max is 300. If you say above 700, you can see that the mean is 700. and if you say 300, and you can see that the mean is 300 and the max is 700. Okay, so now to put this active class, the first thing I did is, first of all, in the rendering this, I put the icon. You can see I've put the circle icon with this width. Now going back on the logic, remember we have this on each of the range we have the max or min. So what I did, I used the param. Okay, I first got the param using use params and that means I can get the min param, okay, and the max param by using search.get and this. So I will be having the min param and the max param. Then I go here and I check for those three circumstances. So the first circumstance I check for is if the range dot min exists, and if it exists, then I can just say you check range dot min is equal to the min param. Okay, if this is true, or range dot max, because we have three cases, the under, between, and this one. Okay, and then we say if range dot max, it has max and max is equal to max param, or it has the mean and it also has the max, and the mean is equal to min param and the max is equal to max param, then we apply the active class. Else we just apply this one. Okay, and this works even if we add a new range. Okay, even if you come here and you get a new range, let's just say we can add one more new range, and maybe you say this one is between let's just say 300 to 500, and then here we just say 500, and then here we just say between 500 and 7, maybe 700. Okay, and then you're just going to put 700 here, 500. So even if we have something like this, it's going to simply increase here. Okay, on the UI. Okay, you find it is going to increase here on the UI, and let me just go ahead and refresh, or just click here. Okay, and then just say between 300, you can see 300 and 500, and you can see the price actually giving us the actual prices. If you just go and give 500 and 700, we have only one. Above 700, we have all these other ones. Okay, so it is working properly, and this is the logic I use it. Just you have to check for the three circumstances: when you have only the mean, when you have the max, and if you have mean and max. Okay, and then another thing that I worked on is now for this this custom input, where you actually add these custom inputs. Okay, where you have these custom inputs. So the first thing, if you check down here, I have the form. Okay, and in the form I have the first input, and this is the mean input. You can see here this is the mean input. It has a placeholder of mean, and then we have another input which is for the max, and it also has the placeholder of max. Okay, and then finally we have the button. Okay, finally we have the button, and this button called go, and all of these ones are inside a form. So using React Hook form, we just simply register each input, and then we plug in handle submit, and then handle submit is coming from use form, of course. If you see, we have the handle submit reset and register from use form hook from React Hook forms, and then we see on submit we can access the mean and max. Okay, now what we just only want is actually to set or to move to different routes, just in case of, so I'm using router push, and we are pushing to different routes. Okay, we are pushing to different routes, and then after we reset. So you can see this, if it is mean, we are just like appending on this sort, and then we say mean is equal to mean and max is equal to max if it has mean and max, and if it has only mean and if it has only max. Okay, so after doing this, we are doing exact same thing that we did with the links. Okay, but just here we are actually using the form. So the only thing just doing is also just pushing these ones on the link, and if you just put in only, for instance, mean of maybe 400, and then you click go, you see that it will append only the mean. Okay, and it will just go a minimum of 400. If I come here and I put, for instance, between maybe 400 and 500, and I put both of them and I click go, you said it appends here the mean and the max. Okay, so that is really really great. And you can see even here when you put, and it has, you know, it has the matching, it can select whatever it has select here. Okay, so that is great, and you can see it actually works. So that was the price filters. Now we have one problem we had here on these ones, they were not working. Let me first reset. You can even click here to reset. Now if you click from like high to low, you can see that it is actually getting from high prices to the lowest price. If you go to low to high, you can see that from the lowest to the highest. Now the only problem we had was these ones not selecting very well. So if we just go to sorting, the only thing I used is also the same technique. I go to the sort param, and what I did is that on these sorting links I added sort key on each of these objects. So for instance, for relevancy, we don't want any sort param. You can see we are on relevance right now. There is no any sort. So I made the sort to be null. And then if we click descending from maybe high to low, you can set the sort is equal descending or desk, and that's why I put here sort is equal to desk. And then finally I have this one which is low to high, which is ascending. So when I come, the logic we had worked on it yesterday. The only problem was on the class name. So on the class name, we check if the link.sort is equal to sort.param. Okay, and if it is true, then we apply this background and the border. Okay, that's how we come to have this the active class working very well. So far that's what I did. Okay, I may be updating these results in this breadcrumb. So if you go to the filter component, I passed the result count to the breadcrumb. Okay, so on this is the breadcrumb. So breadcrumb, I pass this number of products by getting products.length. I pass it to the breadcrumb, and then I get this product count, and then I put it here as this result count. So this one is going to be the page size. Okay, this is going to be the page the pagination bit of it. We are going to see maybe this in the future, but for now we can just like leave it at that. So in this video, there are two things I want to walk you through. I think if could possible could work on the this searching and also the pagination. Okay, this pagination here. So I haven't implemented the actual pagination, but I've worked on setting it to look like this. And also if you click for instance on next, you see that it actually appends something here. Okay, you see that it appends something here on the UI, like it adds the page. Okay, it adds the page, but it does not necessarily mean it is doing any filtering or it is actually routing to the pages. Nope. I just worked on the linking, okay, only, and it is only for the previous and the next, and everything we're just going to work on it, both of us. So let me show you what I have done so far with this pagination component, so that we actually start from there. So the first thing, of course, is to install this the pagination component, and we did it in the, I think, in some video, I don't remember which episode, what we installed pagination from shard. So you can just go to shard, and then you can look for the pagination component. So if you click on the components here and you scroll down to pagination, so you can see pagination is here. So just simply go ahead and install, and then you have this component. This is the component that we put, and this component, if you go back to the filter component, it is inside the filtered products. Inside the filtered products, we actually have this paginate component, okay, and then inside this paginate component is actually where we have the actual pagination going on. So the first thing that we did is installing, and now the second thing is, one is to make sure that these are using not the anch tags. If you just go here, scroll down, they tell you that by default the pagination link component will render an anch tag. Now in Next.js, we don't want to use the actual anch tag because it is going to be reloading the page and will not get caching and all nice things with Next.js link. So they tell you that to use the Next.js link component, make the following updates to your pagination.tsx. So the only thing you have to do is you go to the pagination link, remove the anch tag, and replace it with the link component. So I did exactly the same thing. I went to the pagination component. If you go to the pagination, you see that I actually replaced where there was an anch tag, and this is the place where there is this pagination link here. By the way, there are many. Look at this one, which has the classes, active, size, blah blah. This one, this is the one you're supposed to edit. There is another pagination down here, but we are changing this one, which has this class name, active, and so on. So the only thing is, in your case, you will have an anch tag here. So change this into link, and it is only one just link like this. Get from next link, and that's it. Okay, so moving back to the pagination. Now, pagination really, it has an interesting way. First of all, is it works about two things. Okay, you have the pages you want to render here. Okay, you have the previous and the next, and you have here the pages just like that. Now the thing I just want to tell you, that the thing that you need, one is the page size, and this is the page size here. If you look at this, they say 1 to 40, meaning that they are rendering 40 items in each time, and that one is called page size. So you need to know the page size you want. How many number of items do you want onto the UI? Okay, another thing you need to know is the okay, so I was still explaining the pagination concept. So the thing we need is the number of pages. So you need to know the page size. How many items do you want to display on the page? The second thing is you need to know the total number of items that you have, and this is going to help you to calculate the number of pages. So the page size with the combination of the total number of items in the database can help you calculate how many pages are you expecting, or how many pages do you actually have. Okay, Yeah, so that one is very important, and those are the three things I actually defined. If you go back to before even reaching here, let's follow our data how it moves. So one thing I just did, if you go back here, you can see I put here the small part called pagination. Actually, it's not implementing any logic. I just only put these three things I've just talked about. So for example, I've put the page size to be 3, and then I've also put the total product count to be products.length. These are like the number of items in the database. And then here we have total number of pages. Of course, it will be getting this like this one. So I'm just going even to remove this one, because really the total number of pages we will calculate it at some other place. So the most important things to understand is that you need to know the page size and the total product count. Now, for now, since we are passing in these products, we might not need this information here. Okay, we might not need this information here, as you are going to see. So let me just remove this information. We actually don't need it. I wanted to show you. So when you go to the filter component inside here, the first thing you have to get, because we are passing this into the breadcrumb, I went ahead and calculated the product count from these products we have, which is very okay. But now when you go to the filtered component, you can see it is also having the number of products. So from there, we can start from there. So I put again the pagination here. Instead of putting it in the page, I am just putting it in this filtered component. And the three things we need is the page size, total product count, and calculating the total pages. Now, what is very interesting here is that we need the total pages, and we pass it in the pagination component. So this is the pagination component. It is taking total number of pages, and if you just go inside here, we have total number of pages, and from this total number of pages, we can do a number of things. One, we also need to know the current page. Now, if you look at how pagination works, like on this page, if we go to next, you said it sets this to page number 2, but previously this was only page 1. Okay, and page 1, when you just remember, if you go to a previous page, if now we just scroll down and go to previous, you can see here it has like page 1. Okay, so which is really okay, so you can have the pagination if there is a page or not. So okay, so and by the way, if it is not there, still it is defaulted to 1. Even if you don't put page equal to 1, still by default it is page equal to 1, and that's why by default it renders the first page. Okay, so this is only what it does. The next button increases page by 1. So you can see if I say next, it increases this one to 2, and then of course the other one decreases by 1, and it does not go beyond 1. That's why if you just go to the first page, this previous button becomes, it is not working, or it is not doing anything. So that's the one thing I wanted just to first work on, only making sure that our that this thing is actually rendering the actual page. So if you go to this, we have the previous page here, the pagination item, and then inside we have this previous, and then we also have this next down here, pagination next, and these ones are responsible for routing to the previous page and the next page. So let's start with the previous page. So first of all, you need to first understand the current page you are on, and we are getting the current page from search params.getPage. And if it is not there, for instance, by default, okay, by default, if I don't have any pagination, let me reset. So if I reset, like right now here, still this is going to be page 1. Okay, this has to be page what? Has to be page 1. So that's why we are saying if it is not there, for instance, right now if you just get such params of page, it will give you null, or we set it to number 1. So current page is going to be by default number 1. Okay, and then from there now we can start getting. Now for the previous, we have to first check if the current page is equal to 1. We don't want to do anything. And by the way, you can manipulate the params using this new URL search params, and then you can pass the params as an object just like this. And this is, I think, the more better alternative of changing the params rather than the one of actually using router.push. Okay, so we would have used them as buttons, and then we just keep saying router.push this, router.push this. But then using this, the link component, it actually simplifies things. And then in this, you can actually use new URL search params. So in the first place, if it is having nothing here, we can either set, we just want to set, you could just say page, and then we set it to 1, because if the current page is 1, we don't just want it anything or to do anything rather than setting this to page 1. Okay, if this is true, if the current page is equal to 1, we just want to set the URL params to have the page equal to 1, as simple as that. And if you do that, if page is equal to 1, it will stay on this. Otherwise, we just want to get the current page minus 1. Okay, that is the previous button. So if we check now, for instance, if you just now go ahead and click on this previous, so you will see that if it is already it is not doing anything right now. It is supposed to set it to 1. You can see now it is setting it page equal to 1, which is actually the default. And if you just simply want to still click on the previous, you can still see it cannot go to any other page apart from this previous page. Okay, so it remains on the page 1. So even if you click again, it will be on the page 1. Then if you click on next, so for the next, let's see, for the next button, which is this one, we have to first check if the current page is equal the total number of pages. For instance, if the total number of pages were 10 and the current page is equal to 10, then we know we are at the last page. Okay, so then for instance, we just say if it is the last page, then we already set it to this total number of pages. Like, you want it to be the last page, not to exceed it. Okay, for instance, right now our page size is 3. If you just check here, the current page the current page size is 3. So total number of pages, if you console.log them, let's go to the console and you look at the total number of pages, F12. I'm just going to go to the console. So you can see right now we are on page number 1, and here I'm consoling the current page plus the total number of pages. So the total number of pages is 3, but we are currently on page 2. So if I just come and I click on next, so you see now we are on page 2 of 3. Okay, now if I click on next, it is going to be page 3. So right now we are on page 3 of 3. So let's check and see if it is going to go to 4. But if you click, it actually remains on page 3. Okay, so that is great. It cannot exceed the last page, and that's what we want. Now for these in middle things, we have to actually have some logic. So if you just look at here, they are displaying 1, 2, and then they have this dash dash dash, this ellipsis. Okay, now what I did is that I have to decide how many pages or page numbers do I need to show here. How many page numbers do I need to show? For them they showed 2. For us, I want to follow this. If you look in the documentation, they actually have 3. 1, 2, 3. So I want to follow this logic of 1, 2, 3, and then we now show these 3 dots. So I want to follow this kind of logic. Okay, I want for this kind of logic. So what I did is that first of all, you must define the ones you want so that we know how many page numbers we need to generate. So for instance, if there are 3, we need to generate 3 page numbers, and then we hide the remaining by putting dash dash. So there are 2 scenarios. The first scenario is if, for instance, you only have 3 pages. Okay, so if we have only 3 pages, we'll show 1, 2, 3, and we will not show dash dash because there are no more pages. Okay, there are no more pages. But if we have more pages than 3, still we want to show these 3 plus the ellipses. So those are the 2 scenarios we have. So the first scenario, how I handled it, is that you have here in between where we have the total pages. So if the total pages are less or equal to 3, okay, if they are 3 or less, okay, I generate or I create an array of length 3. This is how you create an array, by the way. You say array.from, and then in this from you pass in these 2 things. You pass in the length as an object, and then you also pass in this where you have access to the item and its index. So of course we don't want the item is not existing, so we have something like this. So I have 3 items and I have index for each of the items. Now remember that index starts from 0. If you have an array and you want index, it will start from index 0. So remembering that, first of all, we just know if you want to display the page number, for instance, page 1 is going to be index plus 1. So you can see we have index plus 1 to cater for index starting from 0. Our page number starts from 1, but the index starts from 0. So to correct that, we have to add 1 so that the page number starts from 1. Okay, now that is, it will display correct the page numbers, and it will only show only 3 of them. Now next is that when is it active? It is active if the current page is equal to the index or is equal to the page number here. And we have seen that how we get the page number is index plus 1. Okay, so if index plus 1 is equal to the current page, then we add the active class or is active. So taking into consideration of this, now this is if this is less than 3. Now we have the second scenario if it is of course if it is not less or equal to 3, it will be greater or equal to 3. So that's why I put this else. So in the else part, we need to show these items. Okay, we need to show these items here, and we're also putting 3, but this time we are putting actually the ellipsis component at the end. Okay, so right now if you check what we have down here, because we have only 3 pages, okay, and we don't have more than that, we could actually demonstrate that. So if I just see, for instance, I come here and I set the total number of pages. Okay, I'm just going to say total number of pages, maybe somewhere we calculated them. Let me go to the filter component. So instead of total number of pages calculating them here, let me just put total number of pages as 4 or even 5. Let me set it to 5. I'm just going to duplicate this so that I just first change total number of pages and we see what happens. Actually, I didn't even test that part. So just come here and just put 5 here, and let's see if we can see the ellipsis down here. So that's the only thing we just want, seeing the ellipsis, just like 1 2 3, and then it shows these 3 dots here. Okay, so you can see we are saying 1 2 3, and then we have the dashes here, and this is being controlled the page number here, if the number of pages are more than 3 or not. So I'm just going to remove this and then put back this one, where we are calculating it from the total products coming from the database. So this cuts for this logic of showing the buttons. So let's work on these 1 2 3, okay, because these ones actually haven't given them the things that are going to append in here. Okay, so for the first one, or for these pages, if we go back to the paginate component, now we need to actually work on this link or the href. Okay, and this one we just only want to set, so I'm just going to set to this. Simply come here. Okay, we're just going to say it. I'm just going to copy this. Okay, so I'm just going to come here and set on this. Simply put this, and you have to put this question mark, and then in bracket use this new URL search params, and then here you put the param you want to append. Okay, so what you want to put is the page, and instead of saying 1, is going to be index plus 1. Okay, so this one is going to be index plus 1, and that is the actual page, just like this. Okay, let's go and see now. So if I hover on 2, you can see here 2, it appends to actually page 2. If I check here the active one, you can see the active is 2. If I click on 3, it actually appends 3, and the active is number 3, which is great. And if you look at the next, it is also not exceeding number 3. Okay, so that is great, and we're happy with that. But that one does not actually affect the products. The products, if we say we have, for instance, on page 3, we would have only 1 item, and if we went on page 1, we would have 3 items. Since our page size is 3, we would have only 3 items showing on this one. Okay, now to make sure that one is actually working, or it is going on well, what we have to do is actually affect our database. Okay, so the first thing is to make sure that we receive this page, we receive it in the route. Okay, so let's just now switch to the route. So I'm just going to switch to the API products route. Here, where is the API, and inside we have the products route here. So we have already done a lot in this component. We don't want the post, I just want this get. So the first thing, of course, is to get the page here. So you can just go, and instead of down here after the marks, you can go ahead and get this, the page. Okay, so the page is going to be search params dot page or we also give this to 1. So the default page is going to be equal to 1. Okay, is going to be equal to 1. That is the most important thing, to get the page. And if the page exists, then we are going to come and do this some things here in a second, but we need to get this. And the second thing we need to know is also the page size. So const, we need to know the page size. So you can just say page size. Since we are working with 3, let's just make it 3. So right now we know that this page is this and the page size is this. Now if you check in the Prisma schema, there is how they talk about, actually they talk about the queries, okay? And there is one query they talk about is there is this take and the skip. So you can see that the take specifies how many objects should be returned in the list, and then skip is specify how many of the returned objects should be skipped. So for instance, if our page size is 3, at first when we are on the first page we need to skip 0 and then we take 3. So like we have to take the page size and then we keep on like skipping and like that. Okay, so now to do this, I wrote somewhere here in our documentation. So if you just check here on this one, there is pagination. So you can see the two things we need is the page and the size. And then we can now come to the products. In the find menu, we can pass in the skip and also the take, just like this. Okay, we can just actually just do this. So the first thing I'm just going to check is if we have the page. So this side where we have these if statements. So before I reach on this category, I'm just going to add the first if on top here. Okay, so I'm just going to say if. So this one I'm just going to come here and I say if, and category ID, because it has to have the category ID. If category ID and page, okay, and page is there, we are just going to go ahead and do something, and here you can say else if, just like that, else if. Okay, so if we have category and page, then we're just going to do the same thing we have here. Okay, we get the find many products from find many. We don't need the where. Now we need the where because of the category ID, but then order by, we might not actually do the order by. Okay, we might just do maybe ascending. Okay, here we might just have like sales price, and we can just like also leave the, I don't know, we can just remove this order by. In fact, I just say order by created date, created at. Okay, and then here we just leave maybe descending, just like this. So you can just use created at. The only most important thing to do is that we have these two things, the skip, okay, and take. So if you just come here on top after the where, so we have this skip and then the take. So the first one is the skip. How many items should we skip? So for instance, we get them by getting the page minus 1. If the page is 2, it's going to be 2 minus 1. Then we multiply by the page size. So this one is page size. Okay, this is page size. And then the take, of course, it is the page size. How many items should be returned? Page size. Okay, so now we should now have this working because we have the page. So what I'm just going to do is now checking if we have some results. I'm just going to go to the API. Let me just go to the API. Why are we having this? Oh, we're already passing here the page. Let me remove this page. Let me first go to the API. We are not yet actually implementing the API. I'm just going to first go here to API, and I just want to go to products, not category. I just want to go localhost 3000 API categories, API products. So you just need to do API products. Let's use some of these ones we did yesterday. So cat ID, we have this sorting of descending and descending like this. So let me just put the page instead. So I'm just going to say and page is equal to 1. So here it should return how many items. So let's just see 1, 2, 3. So it returns 3 items. Okay, it returns 3 items. Okay, and then let's say we just say page 2, and by the way, if we just check, this one is the new product, arrows and T3. So let's change this to page 2. So we change to page 2, and then let's see how many products. So 1, 2, so we have 2 now. Okay, I don't know how many items there were there. I think these ones were 5 in total. So you can see we have different ones. We have ginger, and then we have also the zinc. Okay, so I would want to get the category of the one we are working on. Let me first go to the API categories so that I get the actual category we are on. So I'm just going to go to categories. So let me just get the category that we are on. The one we are on is for the not animal feeds. Let me just be minimizing here. So we have category 1, which is phone, food supplements, legumes, animal feeds, and poultry updated. I think we are having the one we are having here is for poultry. So just use this one. Copy this, and let's go to here. Let me just change the cart ID here in the URL, and let's enter page 2. So how many items do we have on page 2? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so let me just add page 3. Okay, and page 3 we have only 1 item. That's how it's supposed to be. Page 1, since it has 7 items, page 1 should show 1, page 2 like that. So the only thing right now is to make the API to come this side. Okay, is to make sure that we just make the API request come this side. So the only one thing we need to go ahead and change is to go back in our front category page. This is where we are making all our requests. So we can start with it here. If we have max and min, we can also just start with when we have the categories. So when we have the pages, okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and we can start when we have this max, we have the min, we have this. So maybe here where we have this filtering, I don't think it has any problem wherever we put it. Okay, I don't know if it has any any problems. They just you could just like fix it on top here. So just say if page. Okay, so that means we need to get the page from the search params. So if page is existing, now for this we need to, I think, also change a little bit. Okay, I'm just going to change this. So you just cut it, and I'm just going to say here, so const page is equal to search params dot page. So since this is server side, so at first it's not going to be there, so we give it to be 1. That's why we are saying if page exists, and the page is going to be always there. Okay, that's why we need to fix it like that. So else if, okay, so this one is going to be else if, just like that. If page is there, they just go here, and let's go ahead and send cut, and then here we're just going to append. So you could append maybe sorting ascending. I don't know if we should send that, but I'm just going to put here page is equal to page, and then let's remove this max. Let's remove this max up here. Okay, so you could just leave like sort ascending, then we do this the pagination. In fact, let's also just remove it. We just only put page only, just like that. So we send the category and the page, as simple as that. So now this should be working already. So let me just go ahead and refresh. Let me just go ahead and refresh. So right now we have let's just go and see. So by default we should have only 3 items, because by default the page is equal to 1, and we are showing 3 items. So if we just go and put 2, so you see we have testing, this and that, and then if I just click on page 2, okay, which takes to page 2, and you see we change. We have now this one, and finally page 3, we should have only 1 item. Okay, so the pagination is working so much fine, and I'm happy with that. Okay, the pagination is working. Okay, and if you go ahead now reset the filters, of course you can see it takes back to the page 1, and everything is working properly. I like this. Okay, so the only one problem we now have is this updating here, because it's showing of these results. Now we might just actually need to get the actual results from the database. I'm not sure how we are going to do that. Oh, actually we can also get that. I'm just going to see how we are going to do that. So here these so these ones we are showing here, they are going to be always, I think, 3 items. Okay, so we'll be showing 1 to 3, then like 2, or to update we have to be also updating So basically this is I think the page. No, how are we going to calculate this? So let me just go to this page here, this breadcrumb. How are we going to manipulate? Of course, we know very well this is product 1 up to 3. Okay, we have to do the same thing. I think we'll have to borrow the knowledge from the route. So we have to borrow the knowledge from the route here. So let me just go to the route. So if you look at the route, they also have these two things. Let me just go and see if we can use this knowledge. So I'm just going to go to the sorting. Let me just go. Which component is that? You can just go to the, I think it is the breadcrumb. So just go to the breadcrumb and let me paste this here. Okay, the skip. So the skip is, I'm just going to comment these ones. First, we need to know the page size. Okay, so we know our page size is 3. So if I just come here and I say const page size is equal to 3, so the page size, we know it is equal to 3. So then we need to know the skip, so that we add, because the first one is going to be 1 of 3. Okay, that is page 1. Then page 2 is going to say 4, maybe 4 to what, 4 to 6. Okay, is going to be just like that. And I think that is now what, that is the skip, whereby we get the page. And then this one of is like, we could just show the total number of items in the database. That is the, how would we get the total number of items in the database? That is a bit tricky. I think I will just look up how I'm just going to handle this small pagination on top here. Now I'm also worried about this one. Let's see page 1. So page 1 works very well. Now if you just look at the next button, okay, if you look at the next button here, because it is using the other formula, we have to change the formula for the next, because right now we actually don't have the total number of items. Like, we are changing the products from the backend. Okay, so we have to think of just the, we have to keep to change the way this we have to change the logic a little bit. The previous one, I think it would work if you go to page 2 and you just go to maybe page 3. If you just click on the previous, it will work. I think even next will work. Okay, but then of course if you click here, it is saying page 4. Okay, and this is just because it doesn't actually know the total number of items, and this is because we don't have the total number of items that is coming from actually is in the database. So how are we going to know that number? We can actually know that number from the category. Okay, So we have our category, I think, somewhere. Let me just go ahead and go back some few steps so that we just actually have this total number of products. So I'm just going to go back to the filter component. This is the big one. So we can actually just get this one not using these products. We can actually just use category.products. So I'm just going to get the products from here. So I'm just going to say products because the category for it has all of them. So here it is going to help us not using this one. In fact, let me just do this. I'm just going to say category.products, category.products. So this one is having the actual number of products, which is really so much helpful. So this should now reflect very well the total number of items here. Okay. Let me just refresh maybe. And now the good thing of putting the pages here is that we can use them in the routing. Okay, so you can see now the items are now 7. Okay, the items are now 7, and now somehow the math is going to be somehow easy. So now even these ones, they work, I guess. If we are on page 3, which we are on right now, it is saying page 4. Why is it saying page 4? Let's just check this paginate component. Oh, it is still receiving this one. Let me also send the product count here. So let me check and get the product count is equal to product count. Then when we go to the filtered component, let's receive the product count. So instead here in this, we are just going to have total product count. We have it here, so we simply don't calculate it from here. We simply have this total pages is going to be equal total, which is going to be the product count divided by the page size. So now this should now work properly. Okay, let's just go and refresh. And look at how you maintain the page on refresh. This is why you need to use the search params. Like, this is very wonderful. You can share this link with another person and they can really come back to that very page. That's how nice that this thing is. So now this should now work. Why is it not working? Let me first go page 1. It is still rendering, I guess. Okay, so you have page 1, page 2. Let me just go to next, page 3. So what is on next? Page 4. Page 4, we don't have anything. We don't want to go to page 4. Here is saying page 5, and the whole thing is not working. Let's just first see the logic. Total pages. So what are the total pages here? Let's first go to the paginate component. So in the paginate component, we are consoling. Let me go to the paginate component. We are consoling. So we have the total number of pages is 3. Where is the paginate? So in the paginate component, not this one, here we have a total number of pages that is coming in. We are printing the current page plus the total pages. So the current page is 4, of course, here, which has no any item, and then we have this as 3. So we don't want to exceed it on this next. okay, so I think we have to change the logic here on page 3. So for instance, right now we have let's just refresh. So let's look at the numbers we have here. Okay, let's just look at the numbers that we have. Also say on the pagination, why are we not having anything here? I just want to see the let me just look at the console. The logic here is if the current page is equal to, so what is the current page and what is the total pages? So here we have the current page, and then we have the total pages. I wanted to console that. I don't know why I'm not seeing it on the console here. Is this a server component or a client component? I don't know where my consoles are. I just first go back to page 1. I don't know why I'm not having this. So this is page 1. Current page is 1. Total number of pages is 3. We got 2. So we are on page number 2 out of 3 pages. Now we go to page number 3. So we are on 3 of 3. So we just want if page here is equal to this. So now this one shouldn't, so right now it is working. So now it is not exceeding this page. You cannot go to any other page. You will remain on this page. You see? So now you cannot go to any other page. You remain on page 3, which is very, very fine. So then with pagination, the only part we are remaining is this one. Now that we have the total number of items, I think we can play around and get this. I don't know where we are going to be updating this. I think we update it using the page. Okay. Let me just go. The logic is also serious on that. It looks a small thing, but dude, so it is in the breadcrumb. So on the first, let's say on the page 1. So on page 1, we just want to show is going to be 1 to 3. Okay, is going to be 1 to 3, and 3 being the page, like the page size. And then on page 2, so on page 2 we have to show that it is 2 to 6. No, it has to show 4. It has to 4 to 6. Okay, that will be 4, 5, 6. And then on page 3, we have to have 7 to 9, I guess, like 7, 8, 9. Okay, so these are the ones we have. So let's see. We have 1 to 3. So if I wanted to show this number here, you can see this is 4, okay, which is just like we can just say it is I think it is current page plus the skip. So let's just also write here the skip, const skip is equal to this current page minus 1 times pass of this page size. I think this is the skip. So here I think the what we show here is going to be, for instance, it has to be the current page so for instance, to get 1 is going to be the current page minus the skip. No, because on page 2 we are skipping 3. So how do we calculate that? I'm just going to come with this in the next video. I'm not going like my head is already tired. You can comment in the description if you think you know the how to simplify the logic. I will just think about it in a second. Okay. So after looking up on internet, I got the logic. Okay, so the first thing, we are getting the search params. We have our current page. Okay, of course here we get the title and the total number of products that we have in the database. That is the result count. And then from there we have the current page. So we get the current page from the URL here, up. If it is not there, we set to 1. Then we know that our page size, we want to make it 3. Okay, want to make our page size to 3. And then now we can just go ahead. We have the start range and the end range. This is why we're just getting confused. So you have to get it in terms of a range. So the start range, you get the current page minus 1. Okay, then times the page size plus 1. Really, I couldn't predict this. And then you get the end range by getting the mean of the current page times the page size and the result count. This is how you calculate the end range and the start range. So here you have the start range to the end range of the result count. As simple as that. So we have 1 of 3 in the beginning, and then we calculate 2. So we are seeing 4 of 6 of 7, and then here if you press 3, you have 7 of 7 of 7 result. So this makes our complete to our pagination plus filtering. Now the only thing that we are remaining with is the search. Okay, the only thing that we only need is the search. So I'm just going to look for where this component of search is kept right now. Okay, so if you go to the components, so of course this is in the components. If you go in the components front end, we just look for the navbar, and then in the navbar we must have somewhere a search component, which is here. So just go to the search form, and the form is here. So the first thing is getting the param. So we can just say const, and we just get a number of things. We can get the register, handle submit, and the reset, and we get all these ones from use form, from React hook form. That is the first step. And if you do that, then change this into a client component by saying use client. Okay, so that is the first thing we have to do. Then of course we are going to do two things next. First is to create function, maybe handle search. So I'm just going to say handle search, okay, which will get this as the data. Okay, and we can of course get this, the search term, since these ones are called it search. Let me say, if you go here and you search something, laptop, okay, just see all results. So they are calling it as the search. Okay, so you could just call it search term or the query. I'm just going to call it search also. So here, of course, inside here, you're just going to destructure it. So you can just see destructure search from. Let me just say const destructor search is going to come from this data, and you can also go ahead and console.log search. Okay, so you just simply need to, maybe you just call it we just call it query or something, maybe search string or search term. Okay, I just like quite search anyways. So down here where we have the input, we don't need it to be required. Even if you remove this required, actually we can still leave required. Like we don't want someone to simply type and submit empty. Just make it required. So in this one, the only thing, one thing you have to do is to register, and let's register this as search. Okay, register this as search, and now on this button is submit. It should be working now. We just simply say on submit. So on submit, we're just going to call handle submit, and then we pass in handle search, just like that. So this handle search, we pass it in the handle submit function from this. Okay, so let's just go ahead and test this out. So we are just here. Let me just go to F12. Okay, and let me just type in something office, click search, and you can see we actually have office here. Okay, so what we want is to route. So we just simply want to route to, so just say const router. Just going to say const router is equal to use router from next navigation, and let's simply go ahead and route to some page. So just going to say router dot push. I'm just going to push. Okay, if wanted, you could just like use, but just like use router dot push. I'm just going to push to the search page. Okay, and I put question mark search is equal to whatever someone have searched. Okay, the search term. In fact, this one could just go with search term. This, make sure it is the same thing you register here. Okay, so we have that search term. So whatever we search here, of course it is the same here, and then the same here. So we just send on the search page, and then we pass search. I think we call this search page. I don't know if we should just call it a query or something. I think Google calls it query. Okay, they just also call it query, just to be different. Is it query really? Just call it search. Okay, so this is call this. So, and I can just first also reset the form. Before we do that, reset. Okay, so let me just go and research one more time. Okay, so I'm just going to search for tomato. Click search. So what happens? Let's see. Unaccount promise reset is not defined. So let's just get this reset clearly here. It should be reset from there. Let's just try one more time. Tomato. Let's click search. So it should route to the search page. Okay, so you can see search equal tomato. So of course we have all these things from, we are using this component. Okay, we are using the filter component in the search. Let's go to the search. Where is the search? So what we're just going to do is we're just going to do everything we did in the category. We simply just do them still on the search here. So let's first see what we did in this category. First of all is getting this the params and going ahead and do all these things here. Now here we don't actually need like a category or something. Really we don't need the category. Okay, so the only thing we just need to look up to is what are we putting in here. So here is the category. How is the category helping us? Is we are getting out this title and slag, and we might just need to really use a different component, because this needs in the category. Now we can't just create actually the category, because in the category we only just want the title and the slag. So what this one wants is, let's just look at our filter component. So the filter component needs two things: the category and the products. So that is very easy. So what I'm just going to do is, let me just go to the category page and let's copy some things. Now I would copy some of these things here. just copy some things here, and you can also access the search params. So let's go to the search page. So the first thing here, let's access the search params. Search params, I think just like that, and then on top here I'm just going to paste this. We have this return the filter component, which needs two things. So the filter component needs a category and this one. So basically what we want from this, I'm just going to go here and I make this one async function. So the only thing we just need here is only the search param, as simple as that. We just simply need the search param only. We are not implementing all these. The category, now we could just define the category here. Just as this, and the only thing we just need from this we are getting is the title. We can just send the title. We also send the slug. Okay, just like this only, title and the slug, and then we need the products, and we just need a few only. If there is search only, that's the only thing we just need. We're just going to say if there is search, and all these other if statements we're just going to leave them. We need to leave them others, because if someone is on the search page can do still filtering. Okay, they can do still filtering. So I'm just going to actually just leave the filters I have on top there. I'm just going to come here and put back the filters. So we had these filters, the sort, min, and max. Now I'm just going to add the search. Okay, just like this. And also maybe the page. Okay, the page we have it outside, so we just have them here. For the category, we can create it the way we said. So we don't need the category ID. We'll be not using category ID. Let me just first check the search, for instance, for the Jumia page. We might just end up having really a number of queries. Let me first check like here the search laptop. So if you press search, okay, for query is equal laptop. Okay, so basically you still also have all the filters. I think the same thing. So we have to implement now with the search. So let me just first get this get data. Okay, and we are getting now data with this category ID. We don't need the category ID. This time we are not going to have, we just need to get products. Okay, we just need to get products. I'm just going to simply remove this, the word category ID. I will replace it with search. So I'm just going to say category ID, Control F, and then control I'm just going to say Control F and then Control F, then Control H. I'm just going to replace it with search. Okay. Search is equal to, so here we have search is equal, instead of category, we have to put this search, the one we have here. So I'm just going to say here is equal to search. Other things we can remain. If there is page, we can start and say if there is search. Of course, on this page by default we must have search. We are on the search page, so the search must be there. But what if someone actually routes there and he says slash search? Let's start with the simple query before we have all this. The giant query like this. I'm just going to have a simple query of ls just like this. So I build it. Sorry. So just have here the word search. So products is equal to get data, and we send search is equal to search. As simple as that. There is no pagination and anything. Ls products would be equal to just maybe search is equal to empty. Just put it like that. So we would have to get this keyword. After sending it, we'd have to get this search in the API. And I defined category.length. So that is why we have the product count. So the product count, we can also just have to, it is taking in the filter component. So let's say, so on the filter component, they just also put search is search. We can also say is search, and I can just say by default I'm just going to say false. So on the search page, of course, this has to be true. Okay. And then we are just going to be using that one. Just get here also is search. How did I write it? Is search. I don't know if this is how I wrote it. Let me just confirm. Yeah, is search. Just go to this filter component and it is this one. So we could just like check it, purpose of getting the product count. And for instance, you say if is search is true, if is search is true, then we will be getting them from products dot length. Else we just do that. So here we would say if search is true, we don't want to use the categories, we just want to get it from this. Okay, and then if wanted, we could send the products anyways, I guess. Like on the category, we could actually have sent the products, but we could just like put a small logic like that. Or if we didn't do this, we could have gone on this. If you see here, we are getting these from the categories, the products. So you could append them if you wanted. We could append them on top here. Actually, just do that. Just going to remove this. Is search. I'm removing it, and I'm also removing this is search here and this. Okay, category.products.length. So I'm just going to go to the category. So inside here, the search page here. So where we are pinning the category, let's do the category down. So bring this category here, cut this category, and let me put this category down here. So you just add products. Simply just say products. As simple as that. So you can append the products because we have them here. We can just add them in this category, and then they can also just go and we'll have exactly looking the similar, the same thing. So if I just do that, we should now go back and we still have it working. Should have it still working, I guess. Yep. So we still have it working, and I think here we are getting all products. You can see we have 18 products in the database, and the pagination, blah blah. I guess it is working, but we are just going to make sure that this filter at the end of the day they work. But right now, we just start slowly. So the first thing is, if you look on the search page, is that they have search results, and then they have this, whatever you searched here is just like this. Okay, so now I'm just going to go on this this is not a breadcrumb, this is the sorting. So here I'm just going to say search. Here I just only need the title, so I'm just going to use the title here. The title is going to be equal to the search. Okay, title is going to be the search, and the only thing I have to know is how do I put search results, and I put dash that. So if you just check right now, it should have now tomato, and even here tomato, which is great, but should be capitalized, right? You can see the search is in small caps here. We can capitalize it. Either we can just do it from here, or we can do it from we can just go to filter component. So in the filter component, we go to the breadcrumb. Okay. In the breadcrumb, we could just go and say one thing we could just also do is checking on this. We can just attach the search here. So we could just say search is search, actually is search is this category from the search. You say is search, let's say true. So we are pinning it onto this category, and I'm just going to check it at some point. So where we are just extending on this here, we should also have here is search. Okay, we just should have this is search. And where are we going to get this is search? If I go to this here where we are just getting the category, okay, now I'm just going to go here and say to the breadcrumb, I just need to want to add is search, and this we can just say category dot, so here just put a question mark, it might not be there, dot is search. Okay, and this is going to help us to know how to display in this how to display this title here. So we have home title, this one has no problem, but this one here, I think this not in the, do we need it in the breadcrumb? We don't need it in the breadcrumb. This is search here, is needed in the sorting component. It is in the sorting component where we need it. So this logic is going to go to this sorting component, is search is required this side. Okay, so now for the slug, once I generate the slug, I will show you, and we might not need the slug. Okay, but let's just first handle one things at a time. So where we have this title here, so this can be title, or I'm just going to put a keyword here. So I'm just going to say if is search. So I'm just going to put this, and I say if is search. Let's first get is search, and I don't know if we are passing it here. Yep. So if is search is true, okay, so then we just say here we put some text. In fact, we just say and okay, if is search is true, then I'm just going to say and I'm just going to put here some, I could even put like a p tag or some just string which says search results dash, like that, and just put something like this. So now if we just go back here to the search, we should have search results somewhere here. you can say search results, and then we have this tomato. So if you want to put it like in this, you could change this to sentence case. Maybe the styling, this, I think there is sentence case. I don't know how they write that. You can just like search, but just leave it like small letter like this. And we're just going also to be monitoring our search page. You may find it is no longer existing, so let's just say categories and food supplements. This one should still also be working properly. You can see you have food supplements and all these other things. Okay. Then on the search, on the other hand, you have this and it is showing search result like that. So the only thing is to make a query which actually returns some products. Okay, is to make a query that returns some products. So let me just go and try to actually make a query. So on this page, not category, but on the search page, you see we are having this. Okay, we are having this if statement. If there is search, we make something like search. So you're sending the parameter search. So you just go to the API, the API products. Okay, API products here. So you can also get, using the same method here, we can get the search. Okay, we can just get the search term. So you can just come here and you say search term is going to be .get search. As simple as that. So this one will give us the search term. And then we can also do the if statement. Now we can just check where this is going to affect. Okay, here. I think I wrote somewhere, I think here, for this search. I'm not sure, let me see. Search, it affects actually the where. Okay, so it affects the where, just like this. So I just want to come and do the where. So at first we are saying let where is equal category ID. Okay, because all of them, they were taking the category ID. I don't know if it is. So this one, we could just put it inside this one where we have this if statement, and you could just say if search term, if search term is there, then we could just say, of course here we could just say else. Okay, else if. So if the search term is there, then we could just get these products, and then we could just specify this where. Just put here this where. Okay, and this is the product has title. I think we called it title. Contains the search term, just like that. Case sensitive false. You could add other things here. Okay, now I would first go to all products, products.map. Let's just go to products and let's remove everything like that. So here it should get us all the products. If you have API products, it should get us all the products that we have in the database. Now if we say search, they just get one of these products and I will just search this. So you can see we have the titles here. Title is testing. I'm just going to pass in this testing. So search is equal to testing, just like that. Let me see. And we have a problem, and I believe is this. We could just go like here and we see if there is any errors we have. Scroll down. An unknown argument, case sensitive, and I think it is a. So if we just go to Prisma documentation, I think it is insensitive, something like insensitive. I think it is insensitive. Yes, okay, against sensitive filtering. So we just put this mod instead, and they're saying default value default. Okay, just say here this mod insensitive. To use case insensitive filtering, the mod property packet filter and insensitive. So just come here and we say search term, and let's pass here this. We are passing mod. Okay. Okay, let's just go and see. I'm just going to go back to the API and search one more time for the testing keyword. Okay, so we have one item returned, this one with this. Now you can see there are no results. You just go ahead and test with our word testing. So I'm just going to say here testing, testing, and let's search for that, and we have this product here that is coming. Now I'm not sure how we're just going to apply the filters, okay, on top of this, but the search itself is working. Let's look for this, and maybe we could also look into the description if we wanted to increase. Okay, let's add also description. We could just go to this route, and here in the route we could just go here on this first, this one, and I think we can just say oh, and we put another one, title. So just copy this, and let me just put a question, a comma, put another one, and they just say description, just like this. And I think right now we just have more things. Okay, so we can just like also test the description. Okay, let's just see if now we say testing. I think we still have one, but we could just like have, did I change the query? You're not getting anything right now. Must have messed up the query. I just look at this. Anyways, let's just remove this, and we leave only this, the title. Okay, so I think we're just going to stop there for today. Let me just again test for this, testing. We see if we are getting back our product. Okay, so we have the product when you search testing. So in the next episode, we're just going to clean out this. For instance, if it is only one product or there are 3 products, I think we can do the magic whereby we can hide some of these things. Even these filters, we can just like say if the number of products are not more than this, then we can just hide out some things, because I don't think it is necessary to have the filters if you only have few products. Okay, so thank you so much for watching this episode.